Distinguished guests, you are welcome to this session. Now, before our session, we will have a short video first, and we are together with you.
Evet efendim,
Yes, Turkish Council Media Program From Past to Future Turkic World Union. Our moderator from Cappadocia University, Professor Dr. Hasan Ali Sarıkaya, please. Now we invite our speakers with your applause. Samir Babaoğlu, and Uzbekistan Republic Sharkiyat University Senior Researcher Feruza Dyumanizanova. I'm sorry. And now Bilkent University is also my lecturer in my university, Professor Dr. Sürü Hakan Kırımlı. And from Hungary, Turkologist, ethnographist, Dr. David Somfe. And now from Kyrgyzstan, independent media expert, Dr. Sultan Tursunali. And lastly, Al-Farabi Kazakh University, Dr. Danday Uskakulu. And from past to now, have a nice watch. First of all, I would like to thank Turkic Council, and I would like to welcome them, and also the political leaders, especially Turkic Council and Republic of Turkey Presidency of Communication. I would like to introduce myself, Hasan Ali Karaser. For 50 years of my life, 30 years of it for Turkic Union, both activists and academicians. Therefore, today being with you is a joy for me. Of course, the idea of union is one of the most important ideas since Hun, Selçuklu, Hazar, Altın, Golden Army, Timur, Safavi, all of them, as long as they were successful, as they are union. When they are not, then we are losing ourselves. But the cultural union was always there, especially in the modern times. Our idea of unity continued. 130 years ago, İsmail Gaspralı started Jadid movement for Russian Muslims, and then that reform results in the beginning of the 20th century in Alaçor, Hokan Muhtariyet in Turkestan, and in İdil-Ural, Tataristan, Başkurdistan, Autonomous in Kafkasya. We know that, and 140 years ago, between the Tercüman newspaper and the World journalist, and we provided, and from Kashgar to Selanik and Kahire to Kazan, there is a joint media, joint newspaper, and of the colonists, and today what we call cyber imperialism and digital fascism. Of course, then it was with them, therefore we are used to it, and history teaches us that regarding media and communication, the biggest prevention is the intelligentsia who became foreigners to their own countries from the eyes of the. And in the morning session, Turkish Council brings a huge historical advantage, and we should not miss it. I believe we have all the same idea, and today's meeting we have 7 important speakers, and in the program, according to the surname alphabetical order, if you allow me. And then the first speaker, Samit Babaoğlu, the researcher journalist in the recent years, especially last year during Karabakh War. We have continued his young analysis, a young dynamic journalist, really the former Soviet history, Turkey, and after Soviet transformation, Middle Asia, Afghanistan, political, and in Tajikistan issues, we see his detailed analysis. Welcome. We know you a very dynamic journalist. If you allow me 10 minutes for everyone, then we will have QA. You need to press here. Distinguished guests, distinguished kings from Turkic world, I welcome you all, and of the Presidency Communication Directorate organized this Turkish World Media Forum. It will be beneficial for Turkic community. In the last few years, for coming into joint values for our countries, we have some studies, and from economy to politics and trade and culture, and the studies made, and they are now having the practical response. Of course, there is a long distance, and 1 century later we have planned our steps for that purpose. We have great opportunities, and the late İsmail Gasparalı says unity in the language and business and in everything. To realize this, today we have great opportunities. Of course, every country, the Turkish republics, Turkic countries, their own geographical realities, and now most of them we don't have the chance to change them, but in some joint points, as much as possible, there are steps we can for us to come together, and in the short time the Turkish world to come as a one voice, one power. Of course, regarding this, the leaders of the Turkic world, and starting from youth and big, we have great responsibilities, and I believe and I pray that these kind of meetings will be helping important contribution. And here in my short speech here, as the Albayrak Media Group, the Turkish world under the joint roof, Azerbaijan's important media agency Trend Media, which is the Turkic World project, and the importance of this project and these kind of projects, how they are contributing to our unity. Before the project, I should mention this. 1 year ago nowadays, Azerbaijan saved their land under 30 years of invasion. They have an epic fight, especially in 22nd of October in the south border. They have saved all their lands, and within this opportunity, not in Karabakh war, also for the glory and dignity of our country, I wish mercy for them, and I also extend my respects to our veteran. There is an epic fight starting from 27th of October. Today we also mentioned, and of the Second Karabakh War after the wars on 10th of December 2021 in Baku, our President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and our Excellency President İlham Aliyev's efforts between Azerbaijan and Turkey regarding establishing joint media platform. We have signed the strategical communication, and our President Communication Director in Fahrettin Altun and Deputy President Hikmet Aliyev's, it was made it historical. Two countries' media to act in harmony. These signs, of course, definitely today are giving its fruit and will continue to give, and I hope and pray that these kind of memorandums between the Turkish republics, it will be performed, and our media, especially regarding media, to be complete. And after this memorandum of agreement were signed, without waiting everything from the state and as the private institute with Al Bayrak Group, we put forward a will, and in 24th of May 2021, as a representation of this, in Baku we had a huge introduction organization, and from Azerbaijan and Turkey important names, NGO representatives, and especially the Turkish Republic's representatives in Baku, the ambassadors joined, and in that ceremony, the Turkic World, we have opened it and we shared it with the readers. When we planned this project, it was only between two countries, between Azerbaijan and Turkey, in two language, two accent, Turkey and Azerbaijan Turkish we were thinking, but believe me that in that ceremony, the Turkic country's embassies has such a support that then regarding our vision we have to change, and in 5 months of short time we have added this project. Kyrgyzstan and few days ago Turkmenistan participated. Now the Turkic World project in Azerbaijan, Turkey, Turkmen and Kyrgyz Turkish, and also with Russian and English it continues, so in 6 languages. Of course every country uses their own alphabet and accent, they are sharing their local. However, the political and trade, there are joint values are being shared here as well. We are yet new, and of this Turkish world under the media roof we have taken a step, and we care about the project, and we are in the favor of its growing. In the upcoming month in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan there will be contribution, because in this initiative. They are in continuing relation with us. Of course, of our kin, this with this returning and Turkic world coming together from those countries, there are some hostile feedbacks in their news regarding the Turkic world coming together in media. We have these returns, and actually these kind of feedbacks shows how important works we are doing. And the aim of this project, as a summary, is to bring Turkic world under the joint. However, along with that, there is also information, knowledge, experience, sharing them, and also in the international agencies regarding our countries, regarding our geography, the disinformation-oriented news. And we mentioned Karabakh victory. It was a big victory. Actually, maybe after the Cyprus War, we didn't have such victory, as far as I know. A Muslim having region Bayrak Media Group in the or journals which are in the international publication. Our heart beaten with Azerbaijan and Karabakh. Today still that feeling, that professionality we are continuing. And during the war, especially the day the Susha saved from occupation, I was for a documentary. I should say this, I'm proud to say this, the state of Azerbaijan during the war, how organized they are, and in media they are also professional. And of the foreign media members, in order for embassy, Mrs. Firuze enthusiastic of the Turkologs. The voice is yours. Turkish Council General Secretary Bağdat Andrei, including to Turkic Council, the members of the Turkic Council delegations, I welcome you and greet you from Uzbekistan. If you allow me, I want to talk about myself. For 10 years, from the medieval ages, Middle Asia, Turkish history, I'm a young academician working on them. Approximately 20 international symposiums or congress and in the science ceremonies on Middle Asia, Turkish history. I have presented, wrote articles and 2 books, and my husband also helped a lot. Today for me it's a very special day because as the new member of the Turkish Council, as the representative speaker of Uzbekistan, I am very glad I am here to be with you. Especially I want to mention this. And here what I will present, my topic of Turkey and Uzbekistan, their in the example of the World Ethnosport and of Turkey and Uzbekistan, the history of their collaboration goes back to old times. The best example is Pehlivan Mahmut. Evliya Çelebi mentions in Edirne the talk about wrestlers, rituals. Really, Hazreti Mahmut, Piryai Veli, which means Pehlivan Mahmut, and accepts him as the leader of the Pehlivan, the new Uzbekistan, with the Turkish Republic in education and science. They started to cooperate in Uzbekistan to make the ethnosport better. They give a special importance, and also Uzbek's national support of wrestling, the belt sport, and Uzbek fight, and also Turan sports. Between the world people there is important improvement. Of course, between the 2 countries, the collaboration in sport, the second president of Şevket Mirziya started after him. It started better, and the World Ethnosport Confederation and his distinguished president Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan's role is big in that. And after 2017, between Turkey and Uzbekistan, their relation in sports continued in a new process. For example, by TICA in April 2017, the Child Sport Project Complex for children needed to be protected, and their relation with sport, a project started for that purpose. Between 2 states, the sport relation, of course, the World Ethnosport Confederation has been a golden bridge, and in 2018 in the World Ethnosport Confederation President, the Foundation of Okçuluk Chair Board, and also Turkish Youth High Consultancy member and Turkish Uzbekistan President of the Interparliamentary Group under that of Bilal Erdoğan, visited Uzbekistan, and in the 2018 23rd in Samarkand with the help of Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan, the Registan in the Big Fourth International Archery Cup was made, and in the 27th of July in 2019, Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan came to Harizm, and the World Ethnosport Confederation, Uzbekistan Innovative and Physical Culture and Sports Ministry, Uzbekistan National Olympic Committee, and Archery Federation between 6 to 8 September 2019 in He and Harizm in the Çankaya Complex. International Archery and National Games Festival was held by the ministry. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, this could not be made. And in 2023 of February, in between those dates, in Turkey's Antalya's the Third International Ethnosport Forum, Uzbekistan Republic Physical Culture and Ministry and Turkish Sports Ministry, there has been bilateral relations. A memorandum was signed, and in signature of this memorandum for the sports people and relation and friendship between these two countries it will serve. Another important issue here is I should highlight this in a short time. In the 8th of October in Tashkent, the future of developing ethnosport in Uzbekistan of this Congress about Uzbekistan regarding under the slogan of Explore Uzbekistan. Necmettin Bilal Erdoğan also participated in the Congress, and as a result of the Congress, Uzbekistan Ethnosport Association was used, and it is known that sport is serving for friendship, and as a result between Uzbekistan and Turkey, the relation in sport to be knowing the rich history and to a sharing experience. It can be said so, and under cover of approving this project and attending the program, interchanging the delegations and modern and regarding practical application of the sport, it can be seen. Thank you for listening to me with patience. Thank you so much. We thank our lecturer, third speaker from Azerbaijan Republic, the deputy of the radio organization, scenarist and productive, and he is a multi-purpose intellectual because the scenarios and the Nobel Prize books, translations, as producers. So it's a long CV really. So Rafi Kashimov, the floor is yours. Thank you, Mr. Hassan. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished participants, dear ladies and gentlemen, in today maybe there can be some repeats, but as in a famous saying, maybe in every repeat there is something good. So I will give some ideas. Dear friends,
sözüme Türk coğrafyası, onun milli siması ve tarihi medenleri hakkında derin,
I want to start with ilmi tehmil.
kimlik hatırlatmakla başlamak isterdim. Onun bana bir fikri var, diyor ki, karşılığı dilden asıl olmayarak onlar, yani Türkler, tarihi proseslerin katalizatörü olmalı.
The songs are the catalyzers of the historical process. So in Eurasia,
Türk halklarının tarihi diyor. Tesadüf değil ki bu milyon özünü
Elə Avrasiyalı adlandırırdı. Formalaşmasının arkasında elə Türk tarixi dayanır. Avrasiyada imperiyaların dağılması ve yenilerinin kurulması, qitənin milli, mədəni və dini siması Avropadan Koreya yarımadasına, Altaylardan Hindistan'a kadar uzanan
from Altais to Hindustan, the historical trends of Turkic world, Alişir Nevai, Abbai Vefai, Celaleddin Rumi, Mahmud Kaşgari, Muhammedin Nasibi, Mehmet Fuzuli, and these kind of lecturers and scholars, because they have been reached as big Fatih Sultan Mehmet, Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, Haydar Aliyev, and many other Turkish political leaders. And without their help, that world would not be. And also, if you look at the history, after Hilafet, Islami science who protected it against the Turks, because one of the depending point is Istanbul, and with the human-oriented principles, giving value to all the humankind. It's right that it didn't start well, the 21st century in the Europe. There has been deep economical crisis, and of course it was one of our two states and republics, Turkey and Azerbaijan, which means after the First World War in Eurasia, actually it's requires huge mobilization. Today both nations live, thanks God, and in the world they have important roles. And after the Second World War started, and with the world countries made the Turkey to kalkan listen to my words. In the east, the sunset to west and to north and to east, and Turkic world according to
Şüphesiz bunu kenardan da müşahede edenler var. Böyle bir şəraitte bütün dövrlerde tolerantlığı ile seçilen Azerbaycan'a müharibə sırındı. Bu da birçok prosesleri, o cümleden Türk coğrafyasının dahili layihələrini ləngitti, təəssüf ki. Türk coğrafyası o kadar genişti ki, onun dahil
Turkish geography was so wide that starting from China and the ancient One Belt and only story. And in the Second World War, after the victory, Azerbaijan, one of the centers of the Turkic world, and because both in 44 days of war, all the Turkic countries supported Azerbaijan, and like I said önceden, in 44 days of war, it showed that developing this was possible both civilized and economically, and from this integral level, the Turkic world has been centered in the Eurasia, and with its idea, it was scientifically mentioned. And what kind of, we didn't have any Mahdudiyet. Actually, for us, our language, religion, and the science people of Europe
Alman esilli bir adam benim programımın 20. asır adında bir programım var. Onun konuda oldu. Mesela benim insan dünyanın gezdi. O da bu şeyi söylüyordu.
he's saying the same idea, of course, by touching on the scientific information. They've seen even the Turkic world in Eurasia with globalization. According to this, they will have in the Turkish world, and they are the guides and of the European Turkic World Union. Examples should be brought. We started 21st century with victory. The history gives us a nice opportunity so that we will open the doors more. I have some proposals, and actually these are in Azerbaijan radio, both in TV, and there is a program called Durnatili Live with TRT of Turkey, and Azerbaijan radio gives the program called Durnatili, and there we have social and daily actual topics, so, and we can develop it more. We have such a program. My proposal was that there should be radio, TV, 6 countries, Turkmenistan, of the Shura, so I would recommend that the 6 countries bringing together a radio bridge once a week it can be, and then we can look at the details, and in the studio as live the science peoples with the contribution we can make our peoples together, we can have live telebridges. I wish that, and then Again,
Buna uçlar fikir ama üzüldüm bunun lütfen. İsterim ki bunu Türkiye'de
I wish that what it is it about. We know that people in their youth the issues, but these are bigger dreaming, and in the minds of people they are more. And 1 year ago, Mr. Hassan, we started such thing. 280 word people for children we started, and every day they are being called. Actually, I wanted this to all brotherly countries, television and radio people, and I should say all these Turkic people have their rights, but it was very less, and I wish that we could be increasing their numbers, and I would recommend that every country of the 5 other countries translate. We don't say translate, we make it proper. For example, Middle Asia countries, it is more, but at the same time, from 3 to 10 years old, they will be the İmam-ı Turkish opinion. They could get it, and this is my personal opinion. And I made a visit to Turkey, and of the Turkic world, very important science people. We had a 70 minutes of interview. It was in the Azerbaijan TV, and after this program another one was various countries. By making these kind of interviews and this experience, I think it will be faster. Mr. Gökhan made a nice saying. Mr. Gökhan, there was a map there, Mahmut Kaşgarlı, and by the way, I have a documentary about Mahmut Kaşgarlı, and there are 9,000 words, and in all the Turkish word is being spoken. So we have a joint. I'm not sure whether this media form, maybe the book publishers can think that in the Azerbaijan language, whether this have translated 4 volumes, and in the Mahmut Kashgari is wonder Turkish word, and I think that it has to be translated in all languages. And the Turkic words has not changed since then. We know that we have seen the translation of Goethe. The old German language was very angry, but when you look at the Turkish language, the words of Kashgari is still living. We are finishing, isn't it? So yes. And also I wish that the documentary, TV, movies and programs, festivals should be there. So if we started after a few years to the festivals in the journalistica and television, and over the current there can be festivals, etc. Thank you for your I'm sorry if I made it longer. Thank you. We thank Mr. Hashimov. You are known as telejournalist, but your philosophy is also very strong. Thank you. Our next speaker from Bilkent Üniversitesi International Relations lecturer, Professor Dr. Hakan Kırımlı, and Ismail Gasparov of the 21st century. I see him because in Turkey today, as the Eurasia expert, whoever you know is the student of Professor Kırımlı, including me, both during my doctorate and the PhD studies. Professor Kırımlı, both Turkish world and Eurasia, we have learned. Distinguished lecturer, it's a big honor to see you. Shall I say Kırım Tatarian, but it's not Ukrainian, it's not Russian, it's Ukrainian. If you open your microphone. I think it's an exaggeration from kindness regarding the Turkic word. All kind of every year you see this slogan, unity in language, and most of the time they are not thinking about the idea. It's just like a slogan. We get used to it. However, it's not the case. In 1911, Ismail Gasparov in Tercüman, under his title, there are many people thinks it's like a patronism or Turan Turkish Empire, and to all the Turkish nations, putting them under a single or only empty diplomatic slogan. They can understand as so, and none of them are true, of course. And Ismail Gasparov here in 10 minutes or 1 hour or all day, it's not possible, we can tell, but his conditions, his idea as to how it was in a few main topics I can remind you. Ismail Gasparov, born in Crimea, and the conditions he was born in without knowing them, who brought us today the idea of the Turkic Union. We cannot understand how it is. The idea of Turkic Union is not only after 1991, after partial collapse of. If you think it's you will be wrong. Ismail Gasparov, who was born in Crimea in 1783, for hundreds of years, the strongest country of the Eastern Europe, the Crimea, to be, it depends on the conditions after that. When Russia invaded Crimea, Russia has nothing with Crimea, 99% Muslim and Turkish Crimean Tatars. And after Russia invaded Crimea, all their purpose is somehow having them go away, sometime economic, political, but mostly all together with the pressures, the Turkish Muslim local people of Crimea to empty them and bring Slav and Christians. And as a result, in 1783, of the Crimean Tatars started migration to Ottoman Empire, we can see it, and of Ismail Gasparov, where he was born and started knowing the world in the 1880, the Crimean Tatars, most of them left Crimea, and the remaining ones, without having any national they were thinking that they will be lost, and those, just like the other lands of the Golden Army, maybe Volgograd or Samaras, just like however Ismail Gaspralı, maybe its existence in the life changed the lives of the millions. He has seen that someone did not accept it. Then he found out this Crimean Tatars of the 19th centuries and the second half, actually in the Russian Empire, many Turk and Muslim situation are not different. Of course, there were differences. All of them were invaded by Russia, and they were all regressed economically, and all of them were about to be annihilated. Not like Crimean Tatars, they were coming to Ottoman Empire, but all of them were behind. Then Gaspralı found out that alone, one by one, those times the Turkestan was started to be invaded by Russia recently, 1860s, and Caucasia was recently being invaded by Russia, and the southern Caucasia also. When you look at one by one, all of them are hopeless, and Volga, Idil, and Kazan Tatars and Bashkurts 300 and 400 years ago, they were left behind, but they found out that in all of them there are similar things. Then if we can find the common solutions when you get one by one against the Russian Empire, they are very weak, like a buck against elephants. These people, when they come together and act together, actually they can be a serious power. And this being doesn't together doesn't mean that they can overcome this empire, but they need to put the preconditions of this. However, these people were unknown about each other in Tashkent, in Buhara, in Gence, in Kazan, in Ufa, in Orenburg, and in Cetisu. He was Muslim, but he didn't know each other because there were no conditions. So what was needed? We needed communication, and for that you need to be literal, but these people, most of them were illiterate. So like the classical word, whether chicken from egg or egg from chicken. As no education, people are shortage. And for all these, two solutions he found. Firstly, these people to be connected to each other. A press, but the press were likely non-existing today in the land of Azerbaijan. There were only two small journals. But Ismail Gaspralı also seen this. These people not find there are connections. First, they are mostly Muslim, and secondly, all so somehow they could understand their language, which means that when they come together, they could be a serious power potentially. But it's like to bring including the Turkistan, the Tursuns, Fıtrats, and Cholpans, Marjans, and Vesuzades altogether was actually Ismail Gaspar's system, and the Tercüman newspapers' incredible enrichment and expansion. We don't have such media, but I would like to say this here. Ismail Gasparalis, what he brought forward, the idea, consciousness partner with his primitive journal today. Is it today? Ismail Gaspara's country is Russia under the invasion of Russia. Just like the Crimean Tatarians, Russia today, they are trying Crimea. And what Mr. Ismail Gasparalı schools today, Putin, Russia closes them, and people are sent to prison for 25 years. But when we say, they say Russia take back old soil, today Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and other places, many Turkish media we read it saw. So how come so it is the Turkic media? Today in the eastern Turkestan there is genocide. And in Turkic, so how can you ignore the problems of Turkish program? If you are to talk about the Turkish media and the founder of that word today is under the invasion from Turkish word, we should look at, thank you, we should look at from Turkish. Dr. Sonfankara from Hungary, Sciences Academy, Linguistic and Hydrograph, and also Central Asia countries and Mongol communities, languages and cultures. Important expert. And but sometimes my people says that what does Hungarian says, of course you can answer, but Estonia, Mariel, Udmurtia, Karelia, there is a big Finn-Ugr word and cousin word. Please, David. Thank you. First of all, this Turkic World Media Forum the Turkic Council in Budapest and Kuman Kıpçak of Hungary, I am bringing my greetings to you, and this is a very important topic in Hungary. We talk it about a lot. Now, from the Turkish world, 30 years ago, of the Turkish world, I want to congratulate and long live independent Turkic nations and countries, and long live the unity of the Turkic world. I apologize. I am not highly able to talk Turkic language, I would like to
Kendimi bunun hakkında İngilizce
in English.
izin veriniz.
Please allow me. Thank you.
As you have mentioned in the introduction, introducing speech, Hungary, our country, Hungary, has become a part of the Turkic Council the question arose in Hungary among Hungarians. How can we be part of the Turkic Council, the Turkic world, if Hungarians speak a different language, a language which is not a Turkic language, but used to be considered Finno-Ugric language, and nowadays the Hungarian scholarly circles see this problem, the ethnic formation of Hungarians from a different angle, and we understand and we acknowledge that language is not the only most important aspect of the formation of a people, when people ask me as a Turkologist, how do I see this problem, I always tell them that we have to consider that before Hungarians migrated to their present homeland, the Carpathian Basin, we were part of the Turkic world. We consider that the ancient homeland of Hungarians were somewhere between the Edil and Yaik rivers, which was part of the Western Turkic Khaganate. And when the Western Turkic Khaganate was attacked by China, by the Tang dynasty in the 7th century, and due to this attack by the Chinese Empire, the Western Turkic Khaganate disintegrated into different smaller countries, like the Khazars, the Bulgars, the Bashkirs, and the Oghuz, and the Kipchak. That was the time when the Hungarians, our ancestors, started to migrate towards Europe. And but we don't actually know that the land-conquering Hungarians in the 19th century did they really spoke a Finno-Ugric language. There are other who came earlier to Hungary, and they also spoke the Uvars. They also spoke some kind of Uralic language. Why I say that the Hungarians were most likely part of the Turkic world, when the first Hungarian ambassador visited Constantinople, the future Istanbul, the Rumi emperor, Constantine, he introduced himself as Turk. He said, we are Turks, and we came from the Turkic people. This is the first written source about the Hungarians encountering European monarchs. Later, in the 10th century, the Hungarians in the middle of Europe started to accept Christianity. First, they wanted to make alliance with the Eastern Roman Empire, with the Byzantine Empire, and in modern Hungarian pronunciation, but in old Hungarian pronunciation it was Jaucha, Jaucha, which is, we believe that was from the word Jabgu, Jabgu, Jabgucha. So he also had a Turkic name. And amazingly, this fact is not really well known among Hungarians, that on the Hungarian crown that was sent by the Roman Emperor to Hungary, there's the picture of Jaucha, Géza, the first king of Hungary, and next to the picture, it's written in Greek that Jaucha pistos krales Turkias. You can check it in the internet, which means that we send this crown to Jaucha, the faithful king of Turkey. So that was in the 9th century, and the name Hungarian and the name ethnonym Magyar only appeared in Western sources much later. So the first two sources which mention our kingdom, first from the 10th century, then 10th century. And then at the beginning of the 11th century, they both mention Hungary as the land of the Turks. So there's a possibility that actually the Hungarians who formed a state in Carpathian Basin, they were Turks, and then they switched their languages and started to speak the local Ugric dialect, which was introduced by a former German Empire wanted to conquer Hungary, and they collected a huge army against Hungarians. And the Hungarians managed to defeat the United German Empire's army at the Battle of Bratislava, which used to be called Pressburg in German. And it was a big, devastating defeat for the next 500 years. Nobody tried to conquer the Hungarian kingdom. Then, in the 13th century, there was another attempt in the Kingdom of Hungary to unite again with the Turkic world, and that was in the times when the Mongol invasion did the Turkic lands in Central Asia and also in Turkey. And those times in Eastern Europe, the most powerful state was the Kuman-Kipchak and when the Kuman-Kipchak Union was in the Battle of Kolka in 1223, the Kumans of Eastern Europe, they came to the Hungarian king, Béla, and they offered the power of the Kuman lands to the Hungarian king. So we can say that that time they made a union with Hungary, so the Kumanistan and their lands united against the Mongol Empire and the Hungarian king of the Kuman lands. Of course, that union lasted only for 1 decade, because 10 years after the union was made in 1228, the Mongols arrived to Eastern Europe with a huge army led by Genghis Khan's grandson Batu Khan, and Batu Khan defeated both the Kumans and the Hungarians, and the Kumans, some Kumans fled to Hungary and still live in the territory of the Hungarian state. We call these lands Büyük Kumanistan, Küçük Kumanistan.
Can we wrap it up a little bit?
Yeah, so that was the last attempt. And after the Mongolian invasion, when Hungarians and the Turkic people failed to make a union in the 13th century, many centuries passed, and we are really happy that in the 21st century, thanks to the initiation of the Turkic Council, Hungary was again accepted to the Turkic world. And although we now speak a very distant language from Turkic languages, but because of our historical roots and ties to the Turkic people and the Turkic world, we were accepted as a member state. And we hope that the future is, together with the Turkic people, will be bright, and we will build a good alliance, and from now on we will live in a union with the Turkic people of the world. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. Thank you, Professor, indeed. Köszönöm, kedves professor.
One next speaker, Dr. Sultan Tursun Aliyev, even though Kyrgyzstan independent media member, she is also an academician on philosophy, and also actually Cengiz Aytmatov, the one of the most important experts, but of course the author of a book in my library, Kyrgyz Ethic and Rational and Empire, Professor Tursun. Ladies and gentlemen, my kings, this is the second day we join a media forum. Yesterday they have accepted me as Kazakhstan. Today they say Turkish. Yes, really, we are family members, so this is no coincidence, and thank you for inviting us, and really this media forum to be organized this beautiful made me very happy, and from now on we wish it to be successful. And yes, our topic, the Turkic word there is, but we have different alternatives also. Therefore, Russian word we have, an Anglo-Saxon word, Therefore, regarding this topic, I believe the Turkic word is an alternative word. In this monopoly and in the Anglo-Saxon word, how we will show a stance. Within this respect, of course, we will not look at the biologies. However, the developments, technocratic developments we will follow. According to us, the Turkic world, its history and homology, it's an archetype. Of course, there is a change in this community, and it is so in the body, the functions are changing. Let's say the hand of a person, and also imagine the wings of the bird, but same root but different functions. So within this perspective, Turkic word is like that. All of us actually looks alike. Our history are together, language are similar, but we cannot directly understand each other. Therefore, we need a third language to understand each other better. What I am trying to say, the Turkish authors or Aba or in Uzbekistan there is a nice poet lived, and for instance of Erdogan, or I want to listen to presidents from their original languages, but I cannot understand them. In the Turkic word there is this common language, and from Russia we understand each other from, and this ethnical roots bringing together, we use a different language, the Russian word and Russian language, and the Russian language similar to Turkish word, but in the Russian word there is this thing. All of them are different in origin, but they have the same function. Let's say like in a bird or in a rose or in different plants, we can see, let's say, Russians and Kyrgyz are very different ethnical origin. Kyrgyz are Turk, Russians are Slav, and the Russians are European, and they are not nomadic, and we are hunters, fighters, and nomads. However, even the language could only this much united us, and this is a paradox actually, but this is the reality. We understand Russian well, Russian understands us well when we speak Russian. For instance, Dudens and Shakespeare's, I want to read them in original language, but Kyrgyz, from English to Kyrgyz you don't need. We have Russian at there, and you take it and read any writer. So language is such a strong tool. And the Anglo-Saxon word is global, it's so big. And at the same time, third years of the Turkic word our independence we have won, but Anglo-Saxons due to them, and therefore Soviets have been collapsed. So is Kyrgyzstan. We are a country without sea or port, and the countries with sea for history had more power naturally. There is this reality actually for us to be in unity. The problem is certain, we cannot speak in the same language, and in the schools, in the universities, the English and Russian, all our children, our students, we have learned it. Then the Turkic language in these schools as a lecture, if they apply it, then it will happen. Because Turkey, why Turkey language? Because Turkey is having the mission to merge the Turkic world. Because the world is changing and we need to find a solution for that. They have introduced me as an expert of Aitmatov. It's right, I have many studies on that. Dear friends, I have an idea. A Roman club by an Italian is still there, I believe. We need to make something similar. Let's say Aitmatov International Institution in Turkey and in other Turkic Republic. They like Aitmatov and it's a author and it's really, we can say, the genius of the Turkic world. And we are working on Aitmatov. We couldn't find in our countries, in US, in Canada, Switzerland, Poland, in Germany, in Ukraine and in Russia. There are 15 all support this idea, and this year is the death anniversary of Aitmatov and we made a meeting, an event. Everyone are ready to work, but we need a support, and for Turkey I want to make a call for this, of course, to Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan and in Tatarstan, to who knows Aitmatov, these regions. Aitmatov is important brand for us. Still this branching is ongoing, it's in the raw material. He is Kyrgyz. However, we have seen them, we have met with them, we had nice time together. However, he should not stay there and we should go beyond, and we need to create a brand, and I believe it's a nice merging idea, I think. And also forum organizers, I would like to thank for their hospitality, due to their, of course there is a nice future for the Turkic world. However, our future of the Turkic world today depends on our today's effort, all the members' efforts. With one word here,
şu anki konumuna yakın one word diye araması için birkaç
And
yer
of Turkish words, we need concrete steps. Our last speaker from Farabi University. Of the Turkic languages, an atlas of the Turkic languages, a very valuable study. And then that this year from Akça Publications, Macan Poise, the king of the poem, and this is among the books in our students. Now I would like to give floor to him, and your book in Turkish and Kazakh language from Almerin. It's also, please, Danlay.
Hayırlı keş, hürmetli bağlar, biz bugün eleştirdiğimiz bize çok
Distinguished brothers, why are we here today? For Turkish word, the common word, or bringing together what we can do. That's the reason we are here. Really, the Turkic word once it was really a very huge reputation from Altais to Balkans in many areas. We have our horses and roads, and we have very valuable personalities, and they gave great services for this society to develop. And Timur's, Edigen's, their administrative fights because of that. Once more, if we need to tell, again we make ourselves helpless and we have harmed ourselves. We had such a process, and in Turkey you see the same between Azerbaijan and Turkey, between two different geographies, and the reason of the borders of different countries is the events of the historical discourse. And after Soviets dissolved, Turkic world reality had been more obvious and become more important. And us, the biggest problem 30 years ago, like that, the issue of Turkism or Turkic world cooperation. If we touch on that, İsmail Gasparalı, we cannot say another word on it. What we say, the unity, and the editor of Tercüman journalist, Tercüman newspaper is our biggest source, and he pointed what needs to be said. And of course the USSR didn't allow Turks to come together under his flag and caused the issue of Crimea from the structure of the dissolved Russia caused this. Here the things they try to punish İsmail Gasparalı, all the Turkic country members know it, and there are many stories for Turkic in order to remove them. We as the Turkic ideology, we are the children of such Kazakh geography. This Jadizm and Gasparalı's So the representatives of the 20th century, we lost many of them, and all our mind and heart beating, the national motifs, all of them unfortunately lost in a certain period. Since then, we couldn't catch the time where we had those intelligentsia. We should know that even human or the world is ruled by the words from our mouth. If we had a real media power, then we can rule it. Then really, this is in order to be the northern part in Kazakhstan, there is the Russian media is very strong, and in that region you can feel the power of the Russian. What I try to say, whatever media we have, then it means that we are ruled by the power of that media. In our time we have watched many movies, and some of them were Turkestan and Turkic motifs. It was about the Russian soldiers were hero and victor. They always told us like that. Of course, a certain period after the wise people were removed, there is the problem of our ideas, our belief. They tried to change it and they'd been successful up to a certain point. But after the independence, with the help of Allah, today, what our forefathers lost their values, but today, the reason we gather here, if you look at, it's the result of it. And in Kazakhstan Republic, there are many people living, and in Kazakhstan, there were times even one single Kazakh could not speak Kazakh, and our name of the republic was Kazakhstan. Our national, it was so dispersed and unknown that whatever power won it, then we were managed. And like our brother said, in Middle Asia, many of the nations now, they are not using their mother language, and one of our main issues should be the mother tongue, and we need to work on it. And regarding Russians, we have given example, all the Russian intelligence, all the Russian people, only with the language policy, billions of rubles spent for press, and the only reason is to be dominant. And wherever you have the media, then you are dominant there. Look, the schools are being opened, Russian schools are being opened. When you go there, the Russian education is given. And in many places of our Turkic world, the effect of the Russian schools are indisputable, more modern. It is being accepted. So when we speak Kazakh, what happens? Or when we get educated in Kazakh, what happens? Then this time, in our own country, the second class and more primitive, we are being considered. In the world, there are thousands of things happening. Time is different, and everyone is establishing their own. While when it is our turn, should we not establish our own union and organization? This is an important reason in this media form. At the moment, when you look at the current situation, the globalization, which means in this globalization we are passing through, Everyone is taking its fair share as the Turkish nation are getting our share in the culture degeneration. In the Turkic world, all spiritual and cultural enrichment, we need to tell them to our communities, we need to give the spirit to protect their own spirit. At the moment, with the current media, we cannot answer it. In some topics, we are happy, of course. Here in the victories, of course, we are very happy, and these kind of victories, we wish it to be more, but we shall not forget that our biggest attack at the moment, the biggest threat for us is regarding media, and it is openly being made, and against Turks there are many accusations being called pan-Turkism and many attacks. Of course, the social media and technology has a great role. In such a case, first of all, we need to have the power to taste something, and it can only be with the media power. As you know, there is the Eurasia Writers Union. Look, for decades they have a Turkish World Literature Journal. It is a huge literature union. Not only with that, also Turkish literature to earn Turkey, they served greatly. Now here we are sitting, talk about literature, language and traditions, but with the Turkic spiritual way we are talking, and we are talking about such a world. At the moment it's not possible with today's structure, but we shall not forget that the people who see the future like us, who has the ideology to realize this, we will not sit empty and we will make it. We shall not forget it. The spiritual union of the Turkic world somehow will be established, and it should be in our generation. Look, the Russian printed, there are so many untrue economical and there is only one thing: by coming together, we, like all of us as Turks, as a media power, when we get it, then we will be safe from a tutelage media. Look, of the media's language, that's the indication of the power. The number of the current newspapers are in Russian, and in many of the language used in media, in the radio, TV fields, and in the written media is either Russian, English or German. So the media in our own language, where we can have our terminology, why can't we do it? Because unfortunately we are under a serious power. Now, in order to realize this, we have this chance, and the form here is the purpose. We can find it with the collaboration. In order to succeed it all together, we need to collaborate, and we need to warn each other, and we need to be open to the ideologies of each other. As the 21st century to be the Turkic century, we need to be such media giant. Every nation is talking in their own mother tongue and living the national motifs, and our culture in the center. We need to leave it. Thank you so much. Yes, the final speak of Tanday was like a pray. It was against the problems and for the wishes. The route map, it was important, and since morning you are so tired. If we wanted to make a question and answers, but unfortunately we have exceeded our time 15 minutes, so we don't have chance for QA. So I would like to thank all the 7 speakers, and shortly with one last sentence, the important part I will summarize for the records. Samir Baboğlu says especially the joint media platform project and the fight against disinformation and the 44 days of success, and Firuze Jumaniyazova, especially the collaboration in sports 500 centuries ago until the Evliya Çelebi journal. So that started from Piri Pehlivan and especially ethnosport, the traditional sports, the Archers Foundation, and Rafi Kashimov, especially from Lev Gumilyon Eurasia opinion, but in the heart of Eurasia, the Turkish nation's important roles, and also the history. And also what took my attention, our classics are so much and strong. Maybe it's the one of the most concrete proposals, especially with the joint and also translations and transferring with the Turkic accent, interviews, radio TV programs, and our joint reaching program. And also Hakan Kırımlı mentioned the heritage of Gaspralı, first individuals and then training, he summarized, and as the Turkic Council countries, the other ones, the problems of our brothers and sisters which are not in our borders in the most peaceful way, and we need to seriously. And David Sonfay especially first celebrated 30th anniversary, and interesting statement. Even though they are separated now, it's not only single determinant. Other than language, there are many determinants. Language is only one of them, and of course until the 12th century, the Turkish kingdom, it was mentioned especially both in Roman and Byzantium chronicles.
Neredeyse 800
and nearly 800 years of separation, at least in the literatures, the Hungary being important to the Turkic Council. Sultan Tursiova is important saying, especially in the Turkic world. The joint communication language is in Russian, and realistically we need to take steps, and in order to take these steps, Aytmatov is the best example. All around the world is such an impact, so through Russia, so we are not either enemy to Russia. We live in peace and we will continue to live in peace. Therefore we see it as our richness. Of course, the idea of the Turkic world, we are not making anyone to be exclude anyone, but just like Aytmatov, we need to live it, whatever means we have to. Mrs. Tanday put the last word from Altay to Timur Toktamış, 1395, shown start of something. It's not wrong. After 1395, especially in Russia, Turks are open the path of Russians. These are historical facts, but of course 21st century it was very hard, especially for the Turkics living within Soviet, for all the Soviet people, because especially after the Bolshevism, there is a serious loss of people in the internal war, so there is a great hunger continued, so millions of people lost their lives. The biggest massacre or genocide, and then started 35 and gone to repressia. All the intelligentsias are lost in Soviets. We had also many things, but these are important. And afterwards, there is the Second World War. Again, millions of people lost their lives. Wherever you go, even in a village in a Soviet republic, there is hundreds of names. Millions of people went to that war and didn't come back. And afterwards, we being together here is a real miracle. The grandchildren of them today being in with peace is a real miracle. We thank God. Of course, we had the same thing, Mr. Danday, in Turkey, who says Turkic word, Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan were called as fascist or ultranationalist, and they have seen great torture, not only there and here also, and for that purpose, giving attention to Turkish word is difficult, but today, with the help of Turkic Council, that's my opinion, especially big part of my youth dreams, and I agree with Mr. Damdan, new times bring new challenges, neither socialism nor capitalism. The new challenges are very different, so we need to get prepared, and then accordingly we will leave. Thank you for your patience. I thank everyone. Distinguished guests, we thank our